This is Pro Series Off Topic.
Hello and welcome back to Pro Series Off Topic. This is episode 63, and today is a continuation of the Pro Series episode that I had out on Wednesday. It's a doubleheader. This is the first time I'm having a guest here on Off Topic. My guest this week was Peter McEwen. He is a country artist out of Wales, UK. We talked about his career, and after the episode, we were like, hey, let's hop on to the Off Topic and record one. So we talk about everything out of country music. If you want to hear about his career, go back to episode 145 and listen to Peter McEwen's story about being a country artist and being a country artist in the UK. We kind of talk about his how hard it is being an independent artist, his move maybe to Nashville in the next couple years, and just some struggles that he goes through with being an independent artist. But now, this Off Topic is solely about just country music. We're talking about anything from Beyonce, Ed Sheeran, Post Malone, heading into the country world. And then we talk about some underrated artists, some best albums, and go from there. So if you have not listened to his story on episode 145, go ahead and check that out. But I hope you enjoy this episode of Off Topic 163 with Peter McEwen. And then afterwards, listen to me with a TikTok account that I recently followed that I am enjoying. And if you're a real estate agent, this is for you. And then we go into media-based country chart and new music of the week. So I hope you enjoy this episode of episode 63 of Off Topic with Peter McEwen. Okay, Peter, we are back at it with the Off Topic. You are actually my first guest on Off Topic. It's always been just me sitting on my couch talking about country music and different topics. So it's kind of cool to have someone join me this week and talk about it. But yeah, excited to hear your perspective of country music from a different country.
Yeah. Quite unique and different.
Absolutely. Wait, so country music country music is one of the biggest genres here in the States. It's probably, I think, with the past couple of years, it's probably the most popular music here in the States. But how is it in the UK? Is it as popular?
It's growing. I would definitely say it's growing over in the UK here. Yeah. Once upon a time, nobody liked it. It wasn't big. I mean, my friends would all listen to like 50 Cent, Eminem. Yeah. And then here's me kind of listening to 1970s, 1980s country music, and they're just like, I don't want to hang about with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was the same way here, because I remember like growing up, Garth Brooks and Toby Keith and Shania were all played in my house, and no one else liked country music. They're always like, oh, it's tractor music or beer drinking, trucks type of thing. And I think in the past probably 5 to 6 years, it has took a shift. And I don't know if it's just as you get older and you start living more life, you just resonate more with country music, or what it is. But there's some artists like Morgan Wallen and Luke Combs that are really changing the perspective of country music. I mean, country music definitely sounds completely different than it did in the 70s, but if it didn't change, you never know if it was actually be here anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I fully agree. Yeah, because the old kind of country music, such as George Strait, Alan Jackson, and whatnot, to today's the modern country music, there is a difference in what they use. They use like trap beats and things now. I know I've heard that quite a lot. It's a lot faster. It's a lot more electric guitars than acoustics now. So yeah, it is questionable. Would it be as big today as it was back then?
Yeah.
And if we had like Luke Combs, Morgan Wallen, and whatnot doing old school country today, that is the question. Would it still work?
Yeah. I think there's some artists still coming about that are releasing some music that would fit into that traditional stuff from back in the day. But traditional is such a loose term because every decade's different. Like if you go back, Garth Brooks was questioned if he was country back in the day. A lot of the old country stars thought he was too pop. But when you listen to his music, you're like, that's way more country than it is today. And it just doesn't compute to your brain that that would even be questioned that it wasn't country music.
Yeah, I agree. I fully agree with you there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, that kind of brings me to the scenario with Beyonce as well, because
Yeah.
Beyonce, once upon a time, she wasn't country at all.
No.
And now she's done the country song,
Yeah.
um, which is very different and
Yeah.
something I don't think a lot of us was expecting.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you
you know,
think overall of Cowboy Carter, her album? Have you listened to the whole album?
I've not actually listened to the
Okay.
album as yet. I've listened to the I think it's Texas Can't Hold Them
Yep.
song. Yeah, I've listened to that, and I think it's okay. It's all
Yeah.
right. It's all right. What is your perspective of Beyonce's new album? If you've taken a listen,
Yeah, so I've talked about it on here before, but I'm not a huge Beyonce fan, but
yeah,
I took this record. I usually always just listen to all country music that is released that week just to give it a try. And overall, I think the album was great. Um, do I think it's traditional in the way of country music? There are a few songs on there that are very traditional.
hmm
And she did a very good job with it. I think it's probably her best album she's ever created.
okay,
Um, there are a few songs on there that are very questionable,
yeah,
that they lean a lot of other ways, but it's like she said, it wasn't just a country album. It's kind of something that she just always wanted to do growing up in Texas, kind of hearing that side of the music growing up. But I mean, like, she has a song with um Miley Cyrus that's being pushed here as a country song, and
yeah.
it's fantastic. It's a song that Miley wrote with her country roots, and it's called "The Two Most Wanted." It's a great song, and I think it'd do amazing on country music. But I feel like people see that Beyonce and Miley are on a song, and they're not traditionally a country artist, so they're not going to give them a chance.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, 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 yeah. I fully agree there. Yeah. Um, Once again, I've never really been a big Beyonce fan.
Hmm.
Uh, I've heard it a lot from
Hmm.
family members and whatnot, because once again, as mentioned, country music within my family has never been big, apart from my
Yeah.
dad. He used to listen to a lot of it back in the day. And yeah, a lot of people used to listen to Adele,
Mm.
Ed Sheeran, um, Beyonce, of course, Taylor Swift, and whatnot, with her kind of more pop music rather than old school country.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, yeah, I fully agree with you on what you're saying there. One thing I was going to mention, it's slipped my mind once already, was when you mentioned that we should talk about underrated artists,
Oh yeah.
which has brought me into something here. I thought to mention it before I forget, but there is an artist named Brandon Lay who is Nashville based. I'm not sure
Yep.
if you've heard of Brandon Lay.
Yeah, yeah.
Brandon,
Actually, I have one of his songs on one of my play. I make playlists all the time, for
yeah,
vacations, for summer, all the time. But he has a song. Go ahead. I'll look for the song.
no, that's fine, no problem. Yeah, so Brandon Lay, we was actually talking on Instagram um, a little while back now, and he gave me a lot of advice. He also had sent over a video giving me a lot of advice on moving forward, with the country music. And now we're hoping to go ahead and actually do a single together,
Oh,
um,
that'd be cool.
which would be amazing. But Brandon, he actually lives 30 miles out of Nashville,
Hmm.
and he believes that the country music, to do it, you could do it anywhere in the world. You know, from him with his music, he is 100% underrated. And I do really believe that he should be heard more, a
Yeah.
hell of a lot more, as well as Dan Harrison as well, which is another underrated artist.
Yeah, Brandon, I have on my phone a song that he came out in 2018, Yada Yada Yada. It's a pretty
Yeah,
good song. I'm actually gonna now that you say that, I'm gonna dive more into his music because I totally forgot about him and his music. I want to listen to it more. But yeah, um,
definitely.
I would say I've talked multiple times on here for underrated artists, but uh, I know he's a bigger artist, but I just don't think he gets the recognition that he deserves. Is Jake Owen?
Yes, yes,
I mean, his music's awesome, but he's not one of those artists that go on late night talk shows or
Mhm.
does these promotions like other artists do, and he's just more of like, I feel like that traditional country realm where he just doesn't feel like he needs to be in mainstream media as much as a lot of these other artists. And I really value that, and I really look up to that he doesn't
Mhm.
feel the need to be, everywhere, and he just wants to release good music.
Absolutely, and I respect that so much as well, because there is that many people within the country music that release music a lot, believe it or not, for the money.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, and when people do it purely for the love, these artists, when they do it for the love of the country music and storylines of what they have experienced in their own life. I
Hmm.
mean, that's real country music in my opinion, and that's the passion for music
Yeah.
overall.
So over in
Yeah.
the UK, is there certain artists that are famous just over there, or do you just not know because it's just a popular artist for over there?
Over here, it's a lot of them are just purely the names, the big names like Ed Sheeran
Okay.
is huge in the UK.
How about
Over
country music wise?
country music wise, yeah. And the reason I've just mentioned Ed Sheeran was uh, mainly because talks are actually happening about him wanting to go and move over from pop to country.
Mm,
A little bit like how Post Malone has.
yeah.
He's moved over to country as well. So I think a lot of the pop music and other genres in the different styles in music are actually, a lot of them are moving to country music now, and that's where I think it's gone up quite rapidly. In fact,
Why do you think that is? Because like you say, Ed Sheeran, Post Malone, Beyonce.
yeah,
Katy Perry did it a couple years ago with Thomas Rhett.
yeah.
Rihanna
Mhm.
has done it with Sugarland. So, well, what do you think it is that drives these artists wanting to go to country? Is it because they just want to jump on the bandwagon because it's so big right now, or are they trying to go back to that? I feel like country music still has those fundamentals of songwriting, and it still have that story. And are they trying to lean towards that?
Yeah, I think my opinion as a country artist myself, I would say what I'm seeing with my own eyes and hearing with my own ears is that they're doing it purely for the songwriting side of things.
Mm,
Because a lot of country music is based on true and real life events. It's about you can listen to a country song if you're happy or you're sad. You can be having the best day or the worst day of your life, and there's always a song within the country music that you could connect to within that. So I think that's one of the biggest reasons that people move over to the country music. Um, I don't know. I just feel like they connect more. Like, from me as a child, as mentioned in the last podcast,
hmm.
I tried connecting with so many styles in music, but I could only connect with country. Um, it didn't make a difference on what people were chucking at me. You heard this song? Have you heard that song? And I don't like it.
Mhm.
This is, I've got a straight path on what I like, and this is what it is.
Yeah.
Um, and who I personally know, I don't know anybody that's as such as over here gone towards country music and been as passionate about it as I have.
Mhm. So,
Yeah.
what has been the album of the year in your opinion so far for 2024?
Album.
Album, yeah.
You put me on the spot.
Well, as you think, I'll let you know what I think. I
Okay.
probably have
Okay.
2, one going a little bit more traditional, one going a little bit more towards the new modern era of country music, and I think the traditional side of it would be Ernest. He came out with a Nashville, Tennessee album,
Yeah.
um, which I thought was great. There's some songs on there that, like, are very, very traditional, like, back from, like, the '60s, '70s type of sound to music that sounds like today's country music. And then
Mhm.
I would also say, Shimbuzi. I don't know how big he is, and he's a very new artist here in the States. He kind of got popped off of TikTok. His song called The Bar Song was huge, a sound on TikTok, and it kind of blew up. But he has a really cool sound, and it's very different than any other country artist. And I think the whole album as a whole is just a great album.
Yeah. Okay, so if I had to be completely honest with you, I have been stuck on one album for a while now, and it's Brad Paisley's Love and War. Uh,
Okay.
it's not a new release, but it's an album that if you haven't heard it, I would highly suggest giving it a listen.
I'm gonna go
Um,
look back. I mean, I'm a fan of Brad Paisley, but I'm not picturing what songs are on that particular album.
so yeah, I actually have the album here on a CD,
Oh,
which is
okay.
so this is what to look for. I'm a huge Brad Paisley fan, and he has been an inspiration to me for a very, very long time. Um, my wife actually did a very big surprise for me because she knows how much of a fan I am and how he's inspired me so much, and got me a customized signed guitar by him.
Oh, wow, that's cool. What
So
about him draws to you?
it's his music, his songwriting overall, and
Okay.
his guitar playing.
Yeah.
Um, it's he was one of the first singers I listened to growing up as in my teenage years.
Okay.
Um, and going back to some of the older songs that he did, he did such as "I'm Gonna Miss Her," "She's Everything," and then going to like his newer music, "Love and War." He's like he can't write a bad song.
Yeah.
It's I don't know because you get some artists that do really really good original music, from back in the day, and as they go further and further,
Mhm.
it doesn't connect as well anymore.
Yeah.
And as an example, which a lot of people have said here in the UK, would be Eminem. They said his old music is good, but his new music just doesn't seem to connect like it used to.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like Brad Paisley in a way. He just can't write a bad song.
Mm.
Um, from his old music to his new music, there's nothing that is different in my opinion. It's strong and heartfelt.
Yeah.
Uh, my favorite song is "Today." I would definitely say that.
Okay. I mean, Brad Paisley's one of those artists that sings and writes some serious songs, and then he has some
Mhm.
real funny,
Yeah,
funny type of
yeah,
songs like "Check You for Ticks" and stuff like that. But yeah,
yeah.
he's a very underrated artist. He was very popular, probably for like a good 20, 25 years here, and then he kind of, I don't know if he's taken a step back. He hasn't released anything in a while,
No,
right?
no, that's right. That's right. I
Yeah,
did notice that.
his
Uh,
last, yeah, last year he released an EP, um, in 2023, which I did not know about,
yeah,
um, but yeah, he needs to come back. For a while, he was on top of the world because he was the host of CMA Awards with Carrie Underwood, and like that was like the biggest night in country music. And I think nowadays it's kind of gone downhill. Are those award shows kind of shown in the UK?
not really.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no. It's difficult for me as well because when I'm wanting to watch a lot of shows on country music over here, I can't get the channels on the TV.
Yeah,
Uh, even the most basic, like the most like ABC News, I can't even get that over here.
oh,
So a lot of it I have to do on my computer and dig deep to find these things. So a lot of things that I see are from what the celebrities have posted themselves, or the country artists have posted on if they've been at the Grand Ole Opry, or or I'll watch on YouTube of
yeah.
highlights and things.
Well, you're not missing much for the award shows anymore. They past so many years, they just suck. I mean, it's just more of a popularity contest than anything. They're not giving the awards to the people that actually truly deserve it.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, I've gotten rants. I mean, Morgan Wallen is the biggest artist in country music right now. He's selling out stadiums, and he has won nothing, which it just makes no sense to me. Um,
yeah,
it's just not fair to the person. I mean, I don't think he cares. He has that attitude that he just doesn't care, but it's just not fair to give it to someone that just maybe newer or just doesn't deserve the award.
yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. I agree with you there. I agree with you. Morgan Wallen, believe it or not, I haven't actually listened to a lot of his music, which I've
Really?
seriously, yeah. A lot of people have said, "Have you heard Morgan Wallen's new song? Or have you heard this song?" I'm like, nope.
Why is that? Are you just not a fan or?
It's not even that, if I'm honest. I've never came across him enough. I don't know what it is because I have my playlist set of my favorites, and
Yeah.
I've never really looked deep into Morgan Wallen. I
Wow.
I know. It surprises a lot of people. A lot
That's
of people.
mind blowing because he's
Yeah.
one of those artists that, like, even if you don't like country music, you like over here in the States. I mean,
Yeah.
I would highly suggest listening to his past two albums. They're like, there's not one bad song off of it. They're
Yeah.
long. They're long. They're like 35 songs long, but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
they're definitely worth it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, on the topic of albums, have you listened to Luke Combs' new album, Fathers
Oh,
and Sons?
I have, yes.
Yeah,
Which
very nice and heartfelt.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's different. I wasn't expecting it. So the first time I listened to it, I wasn't a huge fan. And then the second time listening to it, I actually listened to more of the lyrics than the actual melody and the songs and stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love this. It was one of those things that his last album, I was hoping for more of like that sentimental part of, because he had a big life change. He got married, plus he had a kid, and I didn't hear that out of him. And I like
Yeah.
when artists kind of when they go through monumental like life changes that they write music about. So I'm very
Mhm.
happy he wrote this, and I think it's a great album.
Absolutely. I think that a lot of that is such as Brett Young as well.
Mm,
I would say because Brett Young is, I don't know, he's very underrated in my opinion.
okay,
But he has a unique voice as well. That's
he
what my
does.
wife says. He has a unique voice. He hasn't got the I don't know. There's just something different about him to a lot of country artists that I've heard. You
Yeah,
know, Brett Young is definitely one, such as his song "Lady." He hadn't had a daughter at that time, but he
that
felt
probably
the connection.
yeah, it probably resonates a little bit more with you because you have a daughter.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely, and that's what actually inspired me to write my song "Daddy's Little Girl." Um,
Okay, I'll have to listen
you
to that.
know, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a song that I did about my daughter, my 9-year-old daughter, but I didn't be specific with that. To directly to my daughter. I did it to all daughters
Yeah,
and all fathers. So not just me, but everybody. Father and daughters could connect. To the song.
yeah, that's important because if someone's listening to it, they're gonna want to connect to it. You can't just write a song and it just means something to you, which is beneficial for you. But how do you get someone to listen to it if they can't? I mean, I guess I listen to music that has nothing to do with my life and I enjoy it, but lots of
Mhm.
the time you want to kind of put yourself into that song and live it and have it connect with you and your life.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely, and that's once again like when I'm songwriting. I'm either playing the guitar or the piano. If I'm not feeling that first chord on the guitar or the piano, that's it. I scrap it. Or
Hmm.
I have to feel it immediately, or I can wake up early in the morning or even in the middle of the night, and I have this strange idea, and I'm like, I can hear this in my head. I need to get to the computer now,
Hmm.
and then I just put it straight in. And yeah, I go from there with it all. If I'm completely honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree. You've got to feel the music.
Hmm. What do you think about the way country music is changing? As you think, I'll talk. In my opinion, I think everything has to change over time. I mean, you think
Yes.
of rock and roll music, it never changed, so it kind of died. Like there's still rock and roll, but that used to be the most popular music back in the 50s and 60s. Now it's
Yeah.
not because it never changed. And I
Of
think
course.
every music genre has to change over time to stay relevant. And I think country
Stay
music
alive.
is the only music doing that, and they're changing so often, and that's why it's become so popular because there's some artists and some music for every single person. If you like that really traditional twangy stuff to more of the real life stuff or the stuff that leans a little bit more hip hop or pop.
Yeah, yeah. So I would definitely say that the country music specifically has changed, but I like it at the same time. Nowadays, from when I'm producing on my computer here, and I'm listening to, if I'm trying to produce now a modern country track, I'm no longer hearing big heavy drums
Mm,
like I used to, on the tracks. I'm hearing more of a trap kind of beat, a little more faster, a little more clicky. On top of that, then the guitars are not as such smooth guitars anymore. They're more like rock kind of guitars you're hearing a lot, especially on the choruses of the country songs, you're hearing a lot of heavy guitars. But I think with the trap, the rock joining on top of this country music, it works very well. Um, which even Brad Paisley has gone from the way he used to right the way up to now. He has changed it in that way of the instrumental, but it's something that you're not really noticing massively with his music, but other singers and artists and whatnot, you're hearing huge. So yeah, I do agree that change is something that needs to happen to keep music alive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe for instance, with the Beyonce song, that's the reason she's done it to maybe bounce back bigger than what she was before. But yeah, I fully agree with you there that music does need to change to be able
Yeah.
to stay alive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in the Beyonce thing, she came out right before the album, like before she could drop the artwork. Um, in 2015 or 2016, whenever she released her Lemonade album, she had a country song on there. It's called Daddy Lessons, and it's about her dad kind of like teaching her to be strong and confident type of deal. And she sang on an award show, the CMA Awards with the Dixie Chicks or the Chicks now. And I guess the way she felt, she didn't feel welcomed in the country music that day. And it wasn't because it's Beyonce, it's just who she sang with at the award show. They're not very well liked in the country music for some reasons. And she kind of took that and she's like, hey, I'm going to make a country album and say, hey, I could do this. I could sing other stuff. And like her next album is going to be rock. I think she's just at a point in her life where she just wants to release whatever she wants to release at the time.
Experiment. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. I've noticed that myself. With Beyonce, I can only imagine her, if I'm honest, as the way she used to be, such as Love on Top and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like the old pop R&B kind of vibes. From that to country, I don't know. Such as George Strait said, "You're not country only because you're playing dress up." It's an
Yeah.
interview that he said, and I thought you can't really go against George Strait being the king of country.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. It's crazy with Beyonce on how things have just changed. And yeah, I agree. She's gone from pop to R&B to country, and now she's gone to rock. She's experimenting with so much, which I think in the end she's going to confuse her fans, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Or get more fans.
Or yeah, at the same
Because
time,
I was not a fan of her other music, but I'm a huge fan of her country album.
Yeah. But there is also that as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be a pop fan, an R&B fan.
Yeah.
And she moved into rock, and they're like, I no longer like Beyonce anymore because to that. So I'd say she's going to make fans, lose fans, make fans, lose fans, and that's the way it will keep going for her until she's stuck on one thing. Then I think maybe all of her fans will come back together, which she could become this huge artist.
Yeah, I don't think any artist could do what she's doing because I feel like you have to be at a certain part of your career and have a good fan base to be able to switch genres like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Because once you do that, like you said, you're going to start losing fan base, and then you're basically starting over again.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, 100%. My friend, he is actually a rapper. He lives in Manchester here in the UK, and he once upon a time was a rock singer.
Oh, okay.
He has a lot of fans. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but he had a good few fans, and he's moved on to rapping, and he lost all of his fans, every one of them, and now he's just gone flat, and you don't hear of him anymore.
Wow,
which is it's crazy. It's crazy.
That's a drastic
sure,
change.
Just a coincidence here. Have you heard of a girl called Twinny over in the States?
Winnie, no.
No, she is actually a British girl.
Okay.
She's from London. And you want to give her a listen. She's a British girl, and she's actually moved to Nashville to pursue her career to be a country singer.
Oh, okay. 20.
She's British. Twinny, her name is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking her up right now. Okay, I see her.
And that's her. Yeah. and she has quite a, my opinion, like a dance country vibe.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
listen to her.
definitely. I was actually talking with her, and she's gave me a lot of advice due to before she was a country singer, before she was a singer, in fact, at all. She was actually an actor. Played in it's a show called Hollyoaks in the UK, and she played in that, which is quite a large show.
Oh, okay.
Over here, you know. But yeah, she's moved over to Nashville to pursue a country career, and she's moved away, taking a risk, you know. But
Yeah.
with a ready set kind of fan base that she already already has, maybe she'll be okay in the long run.
Yeah.
Over there,
I'll definitely have to look her up.
definitely.
Well, Peter, thank you so much for coming on to both podcasts and being the first guest
Very
here on
welcome.
Off Topic.
Thank you.
Love talking about country music and everything around it. And hopefully people start listening to you. I want to end again with where people could follow you and find your new music.
Yeah, so again, my music is currently only YouTube based, due to I'm an independent artist. But yeah, if you want to give me a listen, I'm on YouTube. I currently have one album out and 8 singles. But yeah, if you could give me a listen and a subscribe, a follow. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok. I'd be highly grateful. Thank you all.
Awesome, Peter. Thank you so much for hopping on Off Topic.
Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoyed that interview with Peter McEwen and that conversation of country music. It's really cool to talk to an artist that isn't here in the States. And you always think of country music being such a popular genre in the States. You just don't know what translates overseas. So it was a really cool conversation that we had there. But I want to get into the main topic and then country music media base chart and some new music of the week. And if you enjoyed that conversation, I do have some more lined up throughout the summer that I'm going to be recording and releasing throughout the summer and the fall. So stay tuned to that. Let's get into the main topic. This is for all real estate agents out there. You are doing your listing videos completely wrong. This guy has it figured out. Head over to Trent_Miller__. He's on TikTok. He is creating these awesome, very funny videos of his listings. Check this out. It is so funny. He kind of goes through the house very, very crazy, but it's just hilarious. I went down a rabbit hole the other night and just watched pretty much all of them, and it's such a funny guy and such a funny way to kind of pop off. I think real estate videos could get sometimes boring, especially in those houses that are just, standard houses. He finds a way to make them go viral and finds a way to make it really interesting and cool. And I bet you it helps a lot of his marketing and helps people come into those houses to go look at them. So kudos to that Trent Miller. I'll tag him in this caption in description of this podcast, but head over and check that one out. Let's get into new music of the week. Country wise, for my end, I think the song of the week, not a lot came out, but the song of the week for me is definitely Kelsey Ballerini and Noah Kahan. They came out with a new song called Cowboys Cry 2. They've been teasing it for a while. They sang together on, was it the ACM Awards? They sang his song, Stick Season, and then her song, Penthouse, I believe they sang, and it was great. And you could always tell when they pair up on award shows like that, especially in the country music world, especially if it's a pop singer or whatever outside of the genre, that they are going to do a collaboration soon. So it wasn't a total surprise when this was announced, but it's a great song. It's going back a little bit more to the country side of Kelsey Ballerini's music. If it's anything to what her next chapter of music will sound like, I think it will do very, very well in this new landscape of country music. So go check that one out. It's called Cowboys Cry 2 with Noah Kahan. And then this week, Apple Music, they have those Apple sessions where they have artists go in and kind of sing broken down versions of their song, acoustic versions of their song. And this time they did a Beyonce type of cover. So it was a bunch of country artists, and they covered some of her most popular songs in country form. And my favorite is, and I've spoken about this artist many times on this podcast, and it's Tierra Kennedy. She did Beyonce's song 1+1. It's a great song originally. That's kind of when I actually thought I really liked Beyonce's music before she kind of got into this last couple chapters. I think her country is great, and the stuff in between wasn't that best. But this song is a great rendition of 1+1, so go check that out. And check out the other ones too. Most of them are covers of her pop music, but there is one by Joy Alcacone. Sorry if I mispronounced that. But she did cover the Two Most Wanted with her song with Miley Cyrus and Beyonce on their album, so go check that out. Next up, Bailey Zimmerman came out with a new song called New to Country. He is just killing it right now, putting out single after single after single. I love that. I love when artists just keep coming out with more and more singles and more music. I hate when they take breaks, which a lot of artists do. And this next artist seems like she is releasing so much since she signed to her new label, Republic Records, a few months ago, and that's Miranda Lambert. Came out with Damn It Randy, her new single. It's actually a pretty good song. I'm liking this new Miranda sound, this new Miranda music. I think her last album I liked If I Was a Cowboy was a great song. I just don't think the rest of her music, I think ever since Platinum, her album Platinum, I haven't really liked her music that much. So I'm glad that she's I don't know what she's doing, if it's just the record label that changed that made it better, but really enjoying this. Keith Urban came out with another song. He's come out with like 4 singles since the early spring, and this one's called Wild Side. It's not my favorite out of the 4. I still think Straight Line is probably my favorite. Messed Up 2 is the one that's on radio right now, which is okay, but Straight Line is probably my favorite. Midland came out with another song this week called Lucky Sometimes. Decent. Probably runner-up of the week would probably be Old Dominion, Coming Home. I like Old Dominion's sound. I always associate Old Dominion with Kenny Chesney just because I've seen Kenny so many times in concert, and Old Dominion and they're friends, and they've opened up for each other, or Old Dominion's opened up for Kenny Chesney many times. So I always associate summertime music. And this one is like the first song that I don't associate country or summer music with. It's a great song. It's Coming Home. Just go check that one out. Josh Turner came out with another song, and it looks like it's coming off of a new album called This Country Music Thing, and it's called Down in Georgia. He really shows off his lower register in this song. It's a really cool song from Josh Turner. Nico Moon came out with another single called These Are the Days. Nico has a lot of those really cool upbeat, uplifting songs that are really good change in country music. I feel like not a lot of people are doing those positive outlook type of songs like he is doing it. So he is truly having his own lane in country music. Let's get into the country music media base chart. Number 5 this week is Jason Aldean, Let Your Boys Be Country. Number 4 this week is Brian Martin with We Ride. Number 3 this week is Morgan Wallen with Ernest for Cowgirls. Number 2 this week is Post Malone, I Had Some Help, featuring Morgan Wallen. And the number 1 song of the week is Ashley Cook, Your Place, which is her very first number 1, which is a well-deserved song, a well-deserved artist, and a great song. Go check that out. That's all we have this week for Off Topic. I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Peter McEwen. Another new Pro Series coming out this week with a confidence coach. It's going to be a great episode. So if you struggle with confidence, it's a great episode to listen to. But that's all we have this week. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll talk next week.